Hi friends, future editor Reagan popping in. This is the Reagan that has already read the entirety of this book and has also watched back this entire vlog. And what you're basically about to consume is me reading a book that I'm so desperately hoping to like in the beginning, just spiraling by the end and realizing that this is probably one of the worst books I've read in years. So anyway, let's cut back to the vlog. I hope you enjoy, and also understand that this is just my personal opinion and it's not objective truth. So if you enjoyed this book, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But anyway, enjoy the vlog. Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. Listen, this reading vlog to me is very exciting because I am going to be reading probably one of the biggest releases of 2022. It's 2022. And that is The House of Breath and Sky, a Crescent City novel by Sarah J. Maas. So this book is ginormous and my goal is to read the entirety of this book throughout the course of this vlog. It's going to be non-spoiler. And that's the general plan. So right now it's Sunday and my hope is to finish this book by Wednesday night. To be entirely realistic, I've actually started this book before the start of this vlog. I read 170 pages just to give myself a bit of a head start, just knowing me and my reading speed. So I feel like with having read 170 pages, I will be able to read the remainder of this book, which I want to say is just under 800 pages, which we'll see if that length was necessary. But nonetheless, that is the plan for this vlog. Welcome to the vlog. Let's get started. Clay is actually sitting over there waiting for me to finish this clip because we're gonna run some Sunday errands. Hello. But first, I'm gonna talk about those 170 pages. I've already taken off the dust jacket. So if you're not familiar with the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, it is essentially a steamy, urban fantasy story set in this place called Crescent City, which is a ginormous city full of different types of supernatural creatures. And the city is kind of divided by the supernatural creatures in that there's kind of like different neighborhoods or boroughs, and those boroughs have their own jurisdictions and politics, and creatures within those areas kind of control themselves, if that makes sense. But there is one universal reality, and that is that humans in this world are very much mistreated by the different supernatural creatures, and there are like fae and angels and werewolves and vampires and nymphs and all different types of supernatural creatures that you run into in the story. Throughout the first one, we follow our main character Bryce, who at the beginning of book one faces an immense tragedy which involves the death of many of her very close friends, and from there she becomes wrapped up in an investigation to try to solve their murder, and she begins working with an individual called Hunt, who is part of like the angel police force, ruling force. And they basically have a will they won't they hate each other but working together nonetheless sort of situation all through book one. And in true Sarah J. Maas fashion, it's kind of like the beginning of it, not only the beginning of a romance, also the beginning of a political conflict, because as we kind of begin to see throughout book one, what is going on is much larger than just a simple murder. It is in fact like a larger political conspiracy that actually involves different ruling bodies as well as rebel factions who are trying to overthrow different governments, and it gets very messy very, very quickly. And we open up in book two, kind of slow burning. This is a very long book, so Sarah J. Maas, definitely the first 170 pages, is just kind of bringing us back into the world of Crescent City, reminding us who all of the characters are, which I always need. I have not thought about these characters in a long while, and I need to be reintroduced to everyone, and kind of just like letting us get back into the vibe of this overall book. It is like a true like modern urban fantasy in that it's like contemporary setting with magical elements, which kind of gives it a cool vibe. Like people are at like house parties or they're going out to dinner, but then there'll be like a vampire like driving a car, you know, like it kind of has that sort of thing going on. They oscillate back and forth, and I had this same issue with the first one too, between hating everyone, hating the banter, thinking everyone is so annoying, and then also like being entertained by it on the same side of it all. And I do feel like kind of once you get into the thick of it, you start kind of getting over the really annoying like one-liners and banter that kind of exists between all the characters, and just the plot becomes really, really gripping very quickly. I've read 170 pages, I've read it really quickly, and I do feel like this sort of human rebel component is definitely going to be much more centered within this story, which I like. And we're also getting points of view of kind of new characters that are more heavily involved or even just partially involved within this movement, which I think is cool. And I'm also very curious to see how the romance is going to continue to play out, only because I've read a Sarah J Maas series before, and I think we're all very familiar that no love interest is safe in her world. And in fact, if you're introduced first, you're very much not safe. So I don't know how things are gonna play out. But 170 pages, we're fast, we're easy. I'm back into the world. I had forgotten everything, so I really do feel like Sarah J Maas did a good job like reminding me of like what in the world even happened. And I'm intrigued. I also like that throughout the first one, we really saw Bryce like make a variety of new friendships with different powerful like supernatural creatures in different areas in the city. So I do feel like the cast really grew throughout book one, which I think was a good thing and definitely makes it more interesting. So we're not just following Bryce and Hunt, who again, sometimes I find to be pretty annoying. So I like that we get to jump around a bit. But anyway, those are my initial thoughts. I've read 170 pages. I got so much left to go. But right now, Clay and I are gonna go get some lunch, run some errands. It's a beautiful day outside. It's Sunday. It's been really cold for the past 5 days. So I also think we're gonna go for like a nice little walk somewhere later on. But anywho, I'm rambling. Welcome to the vlog. We're gonna be reading some Sarah J Maas. So yeah. One of the day is Old Navy. Have an online return. Let's see if I make it out of here without getting anything new from Old Navy. So there we go. Dangerous times. Clay said we can go into Barnes & Noble.
Not really the boss here though.
And we're just gonna see. I'm not gonna buy anything. I don't think. I'm failing immediately. They had a sign that said buy one get one 50% off, so I thought it was for all books, but it was only for some books. But I've already decided that I should get some books. And there's just so many good paperbacks out. Look at all these. Look at all these. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. This is a cool edition of this. It's illustrated too. I think this is the guy who does a lot of Neil Gaiman illustrated books too. I had some self-control and just got one book. But one I'm really excited about. I've been meaning to pick this up for forever. Salad, mac and cheese, salad, Clay. Delicious. All right, we are back. We picked up some coffee and now I'm going to do some reading. Yeah, that's the plan. A nice, cozy, lazy, mildly productive Sunday, a really good combination. So it's time to jump back into this book, which I'm looking forward to. I have been reading. You can barely tell. I've still got a lot left. What also shocks me is when I first got this in the mail, I was like, this is way too large. Like, who let this book be this large? But then I looked at the other, like the first book. It's old. This book is only like 3 pages longer than that book. The thickness of the pages are just different. So they look like this just looks twice as big, but it's really actually not. So good perspective. But I've just passed the 200 page mark and I must say, she got me. I'm so intrigued by this plot and I'm also just, at least so far, just like very interested to see where she's going to take us for this plot. Book one was just such an introductory novel as you would anticipate for a trilogy and kind of just setting the table, and really honestly the entire first book was just kind of an introduction to what will likely be like their larger conflict that I feel like is going to be introduced to us in book two and then sort of fleshed out and then obviously ending in the third book. So while the first one was really entertaining and like it was explosive and a lot of stuff happened, it was kind of like small scale. Like the investigation, which was really important to Bryce, was like a personal investigation that only hinted to a larger possible political conspiracy by the end. But now going on into book two, we are like deep in political conspiracy. Like the stakes and the scale of things have just grown immensely. And a lot of what that is, again, is this acknowledgement that the supernatural led government kind of divided into the different sections depending on the supernatural creature has changed history and has oppressed a lot of different groups within civilization, especially humans and other types of even magical individuals. And to counter that, there has been sort of a rebel group that is formed. But while their mission might be good in terms of giving humanity kind of equal footing once again, their methods are also just as extreme and just as evil as what the Ventrisi, I don't know how to say it, the group of supernatural creatures are on the other end of the spectrum. So it's like messy on all sides, and we see our main characters kind of begun to get involved with at least like learning more about this rebellion, but maybe not kind of associating themselves to the rebellion faction, but their characters are kind of moving in and around it, and that's kind of the conflict. And obviously I feel like this element is going to for sure heat up, and it's spicy. But there's also a lot of other stuff going on too. There is complicated family obligations, let's call it, and ancient ties and ancient magical powers, and I don't know, there's like a lot of different things going on, but they can all interact, which I feel like is going to be fun to see fleshed out. I'm only 200 pages into this book, so there's a lot more left. Obviously we got a lot of angst, we got a lot of romantic tension, and again, still very curious to see where this romance is gonna play off to. I'm not so sure yet, but I will say where Sage Your Mouse is kind of starting to take us plot-wise is interesting. Obviously I have a lot of this book left, and we'll see if the length is justified. So far, I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you know as I keep reading along. All right, I've done more reading, but I'm taking a break. I did read one of the like first steamier scenes and laughed while reading it. I think I always think steamy scenes are honestly always kind of hilarious when I read them. But anyway, I like more about the buildup and the angst like between characters, but that's a story for another day. I also think because I don't necessarily like love the two main characters, it's hard for me to like get into them, I suppose. But I am still interested in the book. I like a lot of the side characters, and I am intrigued by the overall plot. I'm really hoping there's like a curveball thrown in. Like, I'm definitely picking this book up hoping some things get turned upside down, let's just say. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't even know exactly what I mean by that, but I just want something to really throw me for a loop. So we'll see. Because otherwise, like, I feel like I might get bored. But who knows? I am making an Instant Pot red beans and rice, one of my go-to recipes. Clay begs for this like every week. But I didn't plan in advance, so I have to use canned beans instead of soaking my beans. And I'm watching a very iconic episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 1. I love it. Now it just has to cook. And over here I have my rice going away, both of my kitchen devices at work. I have this iconic Real Housewives scene still playing. It's a good night. Watching our beloved summer. Yes, we're still watching this. We're savoring it, okay? Savoring it, and it's incredible. We're halfway through episode 11, and I love it so much. Absolutely sobbing my eyes out to K-dramas. Matilda's barking, but dinner is done. Millie, stop it. I would definitely recommend, if you guys make this, to use the dried beans, but instant beans or canned beans work in a pinch. But it's time to eat. I do wish it was a bit thicker, but it should still be good. And just like that, back to reading. And Matilda has also joined me. Hi friends, good morning. Let's move you up a little bit. Good morning. It is actually Tuesday. You might be asking yourself, Reagan, wasn't this vlog started on Sunday? The answer is yes. Yesterday kind of got away from me a bit. It was just kind of a fail of a day, personally, professionally, in my life. It just wasn't the vibe. So I said, no vlog for today, and I didn't read anything, but I do have a reading update for you guys, as I am just past the 300 page mark of Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath. And here's the deal about this book. I'm totally of two minds of it so far. My first mind is I am definitely entertained. Like, I'm enjoying reading this book. I'm reading it really, really quickly. The pacing and the length of it so far have not bothered me. And like, I'm entertained. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I think the plot is so far engaging. And I also enjoy like the different points of views, but it's also not perfect. Not perfect even in the way that I was expecting. Like, I picked up this book wanting to read like a steamy, entertaining urban fantasy story. Like, I wasn't expecting this to like a new classic, if you will, but I'm still like not perfectly like in love with the plot, even from like a steamy romance fantasy point of view. And let's break that down a bit. So the actual like hook of the story and the plot outside of the romance I like, but I think part of my problem is, and maybe this is my own toxic trait, I guess, is that my favorite part of romantic storylines is the build-up, the will they, won't they, are they gonna get together, and kind of like that tension before anything happens. And I am just I'm begging for a secondary romantic pairing to like pop up in this story, because I'm so bored with Hunt and Bryce. And I think because there's, you know, like the tension isn't so much there anymore, so it's really just in like the lovey-dovey, let's find out about each other stage, which again, like, this is my problem, because that's much healthier. Like, people like dropping people like hot potatoes because they found someone new on the block is like a bad thing to do, but it's so dang entertaining. And I also just like, Bryce is not my favorite main character and Hunt is not my favorite main character, so having to like read about their romance, I'm constantly like rolling my eyes, and like, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it per se, but I just don't find it very entertaining. This is a me thing, you know? So I'm just like rooting for some sort of change up, some sort of switch up to keep me, or to make me more engaged into the romantic main plot line of this book, because right now I like everything else but their like lovey-dovey scenes, or steamy scenes, if that makes sense. Like, I honestly am just like, okay. Outside of that, I also feel like this book is a sausage fest. I love Fury and Juniper. They're two of Bryce's friends, and I love seeing that female friendship component and also that romantic pairing, and I feel like they're in this book, but they're definitely like a side character. And if we look at the points of views we've had so far, we have Bryce, we get Hunt, we get Rune, which I really enjoy Rune's plotline. If anything, his chapters are currently my favorite. I find them to be the most interesting. I think we get some Carmack, we get Therion, like all guys. Like, we have just Bryce and then just a bunch of dudes. And even like alongside them, there's like Ethan and like all these other dude characters like in the mix. There's just so many men in this book, and I'm like, where are the ladies? Where are the ladies? So because of that, I just feel like some of like the dialogue is like very bro heavy. A lot of the banter is like this cheap, flirty legs humor, which again just doesn't like really grip me. I feel like I'm being really negative here, but like, I still am very entertained, and there are elements of the plot that I'm engaged with. I think the Rebel plot line is interesting. I like Rune's chapters. I like watching Bryce learn and understand her powers, and like, I'm entertained. Like, I've read 300 pages very quickly, and I feel like I'm reading this book quickly. But if I had to like mention the plot lines, it's like, there are definitely elements of this book that I'm just kind of not fully into, and those are that. I mean, there's still 500 pages of this book left, so there's a lot of space for more stuff to happen. And like, it probably makes me a bad person that I'm rooting for some sort of dramatic romantic plot twist, or just give me a new character and like new sets of points of views of the male and female characters. Like, we kind of have half of that with Rune, but like, give me the other side. Like, give me some female points of views that aren't just men and they're like craven thoughts. Like, I need it, please. That's it. That's how I feel. Is that enough of an update? Was that even a coherent update? I'm not even sure. Basically, plot is interesting. I don't mind the pacing. I'm reading through it really quickly. I just don't love Hunt and Bryce. I find them annoying. And it wasn't such of a big problem in book one, because their angst and their drama kept me entertained, even though I didn't like them that much. But like, I love anticipation. But now that that's gone, they just annoy me. And like, I kind of laugh through most of their individual scenes together because I find them so cheesy. Give me more ladies. Give me more angst. That's what I'm asking for right now. And that's my reading update. It's officially spring in Texas, which in my opinion, March and April are the best months. They're just beautiful, 60, 70 degrees. I know it's still the depths of winter in a lot of other places, but don't worry, we get way too hot in the summer. But anyway, I do like my outfit today. Just a little sweater vest, some flared jeans. I'm trying to, after all of this time, this has been a trend for a while, little bandana scarf. I finally worked up the confidence to give it a try. Is it cute? Do we like it? Oh, is it in focus? Do we like it? Back again with the adult Lunchable. I've literally been eating this every day for 3 weeks. I'm curious when the hammer will fall and I'll all of a sudden be disgusted by it. But for now, still delicious, right, Millie? So friends, just getting that afternoon cup of coffee, and I'm actually about to do some reading. Today, it is time for a Reese's egg, so huzzah. Matilda has the zoomies. I wonder if she's all zoomed out. Let's see. Or do you just want to go play with Clay again? She came back to play with you.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's done. Oh no. There she goes. Tater tot on the loose. Hi, so I have been reading, as I, last told you, and I'm almost at the 50% mark of this book. And I'm reaching the point with this story where I was like in it, interested in the way that I was like ready and willing to suspend my disbelief. I was like vibing in the way that like, when you start watching like an angsty TV show and you're like, I know this isn't gonna be like top tier, but I just want to be entertained. Like that's all that matters. And when I decide to rewatch The Vampire Diaries for like the umpteenth time, like that is the feeling I want when I pick up this book. Unfortunately, I was like in it in the beginning, I've said my piece, but I'm almost 50% of the way through and I just need something. I need a hook. I need something that's gonna like make me keep coming back, because I don't wanna say I'm like bored, but I'm like borderline bored, and it's again because I'm just not interested. Excuse Matilda drinking water in the background, but I'm just like, where's the angst? Like what is propelling me through this story? Because while yes, the politics are interesting, I did not pick up this book for like the politics, like let's be honest, or like just intricate fantasy world building. Like I do think Sarah J Maas usually does a good job kind of balancing like a well thought out constructed world plus angst, drama, and romance, but like I need the angst, drama, and romance to be pushing me through, otherwise I don't know how to feel. And usually guys, I usually vibe with these stories. Like I might not be head over heels, but I like them. But there's still a lot of time for redemption to be had, and maybe this is like a middle chunk that's like a pacing issue, and I'm hoping, something will happen and I will change my mind. But this is where I'm at currently, about 50% through the way of this book. I like the beginning, but like it just feels like the same, like I need something fresh that's gonna turn the story upside down. Starting dinner so late. I have Love is Blind on, but I'm marinating some chicken and some olive oil, lemon juice, garlic. Normally I would use fresh herbs, but I just cannot be bothered today. So I have parsley, rosemary, thyme, and oregano, salt, pepper in here as well. I also might add some cayenne, but I kind of just went for like a classic Greek marinade. So I'll let that sit for a little bit while my pan heats up and I finish everything else. Cooking these chicken. I like getting thinly sliced chicken breasts because it's all about speed, baby. Especially because I started this dinner at like 9 p.m. out of pure laziness. And here's dinner, just a little chicken and some couscous and a little arugula salad. I'm gonna mix it all up. Top with feta, onion, and Kalamata olives. Ignore the mess on the dresser. But we are in the home stretch.
Ignore the dress on the messer.
We are on episode 14 of Our Beloved Summer. Home stretch, people. Good morning, Matilda. You comfy? I love when we get really good sun in the morning because she's back. She loves sunbathing and it makes me so happy for her. We also upgraded her blanket. Just trying to keep the queen comfortable. I have started the day with a bit of a fruit bowl, which has just been such a delightful way to start my morning post coffee. And I have been doing some reading and I do have an update, so I will check in a bit in regards to that. Quick OOTD, I'm about to do a reading check-in, but I just wanted to quickly declare my joy that it is prairie dress season once again. We love a cotton poplin in this household, so cheers to that. Hi friends, it's me. Ignore this situation. But the point is, I'm checking in because I have read another 100 pages and I officially have only 300 pages left of this book. So I feel we are finally kind of in the falling action-ish, at least for an 800-page book. I really want to preface everything I'm about to say with, I go into every book I read wanting to like it. I also went into this book with a specific set of expectations, kind of referring to like, I have, you know, general expectations for romance-based fantasy stories, you know? And I also have read and enjoyed other Sarah J Maas books in the past, but all of that aside, I'm having a hard time with this book. I'm having a hard time with this book. I am bored. I can officially declare I do think there is an issue with the pacing. I think the idea is great in terms of kind of escalating the conflict outside of the city, bringing in like larger political scenarios and conspiracy, also introducing more characters from the rebels human side, which I think is like a great place to go. But if I really break down, I read 500 pages of this book, a kind of like subplot conflict was introduced, but you get the sense that the subplot is going to lead to like the larger plot reveal, you know? And there's literally been no progress. There has been some side missions to try to make progress, but it all ends the same. Like, there's been no progress. And I thought there at least would have been something. And obviously 500 pages in, I am starting to get some more stuff finally, but it's like, oh my gosh, 500 pages and just truly not very much has happened. And this might not bother me if, again, I wasn't annoyed by the main couple. I'm so over them. I hate the word mate. I don't mesh with them, but I haven't meshed with every, you know, romantic pairing in like a Sarah J Maas series in the past. But what she normally does, at least for me, or like maybe I didn't like the Selena romantic storyline, which I didn't either. But normally we have other points of views and other romantic plot lines that kind of will pull you in, and other like female points of views that will pull you in. So like maybe you don't like the main quest, but there's lots of like side quests that you're still really invested in, and normally that's kind of where she gets me. But there are no compelling side quests because all the other points of view are men. I don't want to read a romance novel from the points of view of men, and that's me. Obviously, I'm not saying like if you like that, that's wrong. That's obviously not what I'm saying, but for me personally, it just makes it hard for me to be like fully into the book. Still obviously gonna finish it, and I wouldn't say this is like the worst book I've ever read. It's just not landing for me like I was hoping it would, and it's not like fully sucking me into this like angsty, dramatic, romantic ride that I was hoping it would too. Like, I have read and enjoyed so many of her books, and from like a pure entertainment point of view, like I really was hoping this would give me like Court of Mist and Fury vibes. Like, I wanted the chaos and the overthrow and the angst that that book had. And again, like if you love this book, good on ya. I'm happy for you, because I wish I was like, I wish I like couldn't put it down and I read like 600 pages in one day and it was like binge watching 3 seasons of Vampire Diaries at once. Like, I want that feeling. Like, that's what I wanted when I picked this book up, but unfortunately I'm just bored and I don't like anyone. The only storyline that I'm mildly interested in is Rune, but I'm like 99% sure like where that's going. And so like then it makes it less interesting. Or like give me a female point of view of some of the female characters that have been introduced in this book that I'm interested in, but we only get to see them like in passing or in reference through the other points of view. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. I am going through it with this book. I hate to say it, but I am. I just can't with this book. The scene I'm reading is like so absurd. I don't even know how to like say this. I don't want to be like spoilery, but like if you work yourself so much up in a rage and the only way that you can be calmed down is intercourse in like a meadow, then I just like don't know what to say to you. But I just, it's hard for me to buy in. I also like dislike them, so the Stevie scenes like aren't even fun for me. Like, why? At this point I'm just trying to read this book. I've put so much time into this. I have to finish it. I promise I'm not usually someone who like likes to read books and then just complain about them for the entire vlog. I really try to focus on the positive, but I'm just having a hard time at the moment. I'm having a hard time, but I'm gonna get back to the reading. Ignore the chaos. that is my desk. But I've read another 50 pages. I've passed the 550 page mark. I need to step away from this book. It feels like with every passing page, I'm getting more annoyed with it. So I'm gonna give myself some space from it tonight and finish it likely tomorrow. I mean, there is literally a possibility that another male point of view is gonna be introduced to this, and I'm like, I'm so over it. And I'm not interested in the story at this point in time. So I'm gonna go pick up Thai food with Clay, go hang out at a friend's house, and I will be finishing this tomorrow. This beast of a book. Hello, good morning. I'm up and dressed, wearing my all purple outfit. Today's a big day because, that's right friends, I'm finishing this behemoth of a book. I'm not sure what I'm gonna feel at the end of this experience, but I am looking forward to it ending. So, cheers. I need to have a vent session about this book because I've reached the point where I think I kind of hate it. And this I feel like is very unlike me. Like usually by this point I would have DNF'd. But because I'm reading it for a vlog and because I've read 650 pages of this book, I feel like I need to finish it and just like share my thoughts and feelings. I want to reiterate that I went into this vlog wanting to enjoy this book, have enjoyed books in this series in the past, but I just like don't like this book at all. And I have some severe problems with it on like all fronts, but there's some specific things I feel like I just need to vent about. First and foremost is the plot, okay? We spent hundreds of pages working towards this apparently important discovery, locating something, and it was resolved instantly with very little plot payoff in terms of like, what was the point? Why did this need to be the focal point for literally hundreds of pages? The dialogue and the characterization is just driving me insane. Literally, Bryce and all of her saucy comebacks drive me up a wall. Like literally, Bryce could be bleeding out on the ground. Her friend would run up and be like, oh my god, Bryce, your leg, it got ripped off. And her last words would be, that's not the only thing I'm gonna rip off tonight. Wink, and then she'd die. Because she can't talk to another human being without making some sort of like saucy comeback. Driving me insane. Hunt, no personality, so boring. I'm not interested in either of them together, and I literally have just had to skim read all of the steamy scenes because they're just like so cringe. To me personally, there are so many words I never want to see again. Stirring, scent, oh my god, scent, mate, hate them all. Also, I'm begging for them to have some sort of like heartfelt emotional conversation that is not also in combination with some sort of like makeout or steamy session. Like, can you just be like normal people and like talk to each other if you're supposedly like destined for each other? Outside of like the physical aspect of it, like let's have some balance here. I would say my favorite storylines are Rune and Ethan, but like even Rune, he is not free from criticism. This man is immortal. This man is, I don't know, 80, 100 years old or something like that, and he voluntarily lives in a beer-soaked frat house equivalent. Sir, you are an adult. You have a lot of money, and you're voluntarily choosing that vibe. Red flag all around. You're 80. Like, I don't know how much more time you need to realize that, you know, like investing in a coffee table is a normal and like it's not gonna ruin like the aesthetic you're trying to put out. It also took 600 pages for Bryce to have a prolonged conversation with a female that isn't Fury and Juniper, who barely have been in this book, and obviously they have had some scenes together, but outside of that, it took so long for Bryce to have just any type of one-on-one conversation with another woman that's like kind of new to the story. And by the way, Fury and Juniper should be way more present in this book. Give me some other female points of view. I'm just so tired of everyone, and literally nothing has happened, okay? Nothing has happened in this book. I mean, that's not totally true. Like, obviously stuff has happened, but like, for what? For what? Oh, I got really heated there. Tell me how you really feel, Reagan. I'm having a hard time with this book. I just want to finish it. I just want it to be over. I'm looking forward to the ending because apparently like that's interesting. But like what was all of this for? What was all of this for? Also, I have another bone to pick. There's this whole plot line that's brought up. Bryce like learning and understanding and training with her powers and doing research and like actively trying to understand like what's going on. And I was like, oh cool, so maybe we'll have some training sequences. That could be an interesting way to bring Cormac and her together. You know, like that could be like an interesting dynamic put in the story. Nothing, crickets, was just talked about. Never to actually be acted upon, even if it would make sense if we're progressing towards combat or conflict that she's gonna be involved in. Instead, it's just like, charge me up. She's literally like a walking Tesla or something. I don't know what to say. I feel like this is my rantiest reading vlog I've ever posted. And I'm really scared about the comments. And I really wanna reiterate, these are just my thoughts and feelings. This is not objective truth. If you really enjoyed this, I'm happy for you. I wish I enjoyed this because I'm never gonna get this time back, unfortunately. And that's that. But anyway, I have 150 pages left. I'm gonna finish it today. God, I can't wait. And in the meantime, I think I'm gonna make myself a smoothie. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna make a smoothie to wash out the taste that book has left in my mouth with some delicious, sweet smoothies. Cheers. It is time for lunch. I'm taking a break from my adult Lunchables because I have some extra leftover rice from red beans and rice. So of course, I'm gonna whip up a quick fried rice, which is just one of my favorite easy lunches. So good, so I'm gonna do some chopping. All right, I have an absurd amount of onions and carrots for this. Honestly, I probably could use more rice, but maybe I'm trying to bulk it up. Clay also loves sauteed onions a lot, so I thought I'd give him a little extra. And voila, it's done and delicious. Millie and I are gonna try to finish the book right now. And it's a beautiful day outside, so I also opened the balcony door, which is so unbelievably pleasant. We still don't have any leaves yet, but it's like 76 degrees outside right now, and I am not mad about it. Hi friends, I have a face mask on, which is very needed due to all the stress that this book has given me. And I'm actually gonna sit down and finish it right now, and I'll probably do like a final recap tomorrow morning. But because I'm at the 730 page mark, I have read some more since the last reading check-in. I think I've read 130 pages actually. And honestly, I am a broken record at this point. I don't have much new to say. Oh, Clay's reading. He wanted to show you guys that he's been reading. He's halfway through his first book.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's going much better for him than my current book for me. But I'm just constantly reinforced with reading this book that a solid 400 pages of it like didn't need to happen, because now there is a bit of plot. Like things have definitely picked up a bit towards the end, but it just gives this feeling of like too little too late. Like the element of training, the element of starting to like get involved with politics and talking to people, and people are revealing themselves. There's like reveal, reveal, reveal. And it's interesting too, because a lot of these like interesting reveals or moments sometimes are even happening off stage, which in a book at this length, why are the interesting things happening off stage and I have to read through another Bryce Hunt scene? Like, these are the questions I have. But I'm gonna get to the end. We'll see. Everyone keeps talking about the ending of this book, and I'm really curious to see how I feel about it and if it will make a difference. Like, if, in the way that I mean, like, based on how this is going, I won't read book 3. But depending on the ending, like, maybe she'll get me. Like maybe something will capture my attention, and like even though I did not like this book, like somehow she's gonna keep me coming back for more. I don't know. So that is the question yet to be answered. But right now I just feel pretty definitively like not so good about this book at all, and I really want to reinforce again and say, if you like this book, honestly I'm happy for you. I wish I was you. And we're all allowed to have different opinions, especially in regards to like stuff like this, so it's absolutely fine. But I'm gonna finish this book now, but I just wanted to give you just a little mini progress update now that I have just literally the last bit left. I'm not having a good time. Hi friends, I finished the book. It is done, and let's just wrap this up. I think we all know generally how I'm feeling, but the one thing I want to address, thoughts on the end. What's annoying is I did not like this book, and I probably will give it like a 1.5 stars. But the ending is interesting, and I'm like, what? And I don't even know if I even like the ending, but I think at least it was like a cool way to go about it. And I'm gonna be as vague as possible because I don't want to reference or give anything away, but I do think the ending was interesting. But literally that was 5 pages of this book. So the 795 pages of this book I did not like in any way, shape, or form, but I'm at least intrigued. Which, like, does that mean I'm gonna read book 3? I don't know. I don't know if I can put myself through that, so maybe I'll wait. But final thoughts and feelings on this story. Here is what I think in a nutshell. In summary, I think this book was way too long. I think about 400 pages of this book did not need to be there. It was very much filler. I feel like we had too many points of view from male characters, and we did not get enough points of views of either side of a romantic pairing, to where sometimes when romance began to escalate outside of the primary romance, it felt really sudden and rushed. I think particularly with Rune's chapters, and honestly like any other reference to romance just wasn't really built out that much. I think some of the points of views that we got in this book did not need to be in it at all. I'm thinking particularly Therion's chapters. I'm not even quite sure like what they added to the overall plot and story. And I also feel like a lot of Rune's chapters, which interesting, a lot of his character development, particularly with some relationship aspects, was very rushed, particularly at the end. I felt that Sarah J. Maas focused a lot of time on areas of the plot that were unimportant and really rushed elements of the plot that were very important, talking about the training, talking about understanding the root of the powers. And honestly, the reveals at the end were interesting. A lot of context to structurally how this fantasy world came about and how it was created, which I think added a lot of cool background to this fantasy world. But it was really just like straight up told to us, like show and tell. So while it was like a cool reveal and I appreciated the information, a majority of what was revealed felt very like, and now children, let me tell you how we got here sort of thing, versus it actually feeling like it was part of the investigation throughout the book. And like, don't get me wrong, aspects of it were, but it was just like not paced well enough in my opinion that it made the reveal make sense. The very, very end reveal was interesting. There's a component of that reveal which did make me cringe, which I won't reveal, but I'm at least like curious to see how things are going to play out, which is annoying because that does mean I might read the next book, and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to handle that. We just need more balanced points of view within this series. We need more balanced sub-romantic plot lines within this series. And I also feel like this book missed romance. There was a lot of steaminess, but there wasn't a lot of romance. Like, where are the moments that make your heart flutter and you're like, oh, that was really cute, or like, wow, they really care about each other, or oh, that kind of gave me butterflies. Like, there was nothing in here that felt romantic. And I feel like, at least personally for me, like that helps balance a lot of the sort of quick insta-lovey, like very intense romantic plot lines. It also makes it more believable. Like, show me how they love each other, you know? And that's how I feel. Anyway, all of that to say is I did not like this book. This is probably one of my least favorite books I've read in many years. That's the story. I do hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I really never make vlogs like this, and it's never my intention to make vlogs like this, but maybe it was entertaining in some capacity. I'm not sure if I'll have a vlog like this again in the future, but we shall see. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye.